Good afternoon, everybody. Classical theory and new classical theory. So, what is included under classical theory? Classical theory under that will be including scientific management, that will be including Henry Fowell's administrative management, as well as Max Weber's bureaucracy theory management. So, these three theories are coming under the classical theory of management that we covered already. Now, we are going to discuss about the new classical theory. What is this new classical theory is all about? We will focus on that particular aspect today. So, what is this new classical theory of management? So, new means what? New. And the new classical approach was first set out by Alfred Marshall in his book Principles of Economy, published in 1890s. Look at the Alfred Marshall is the person, is an economist who first published in his book in 1890s about the new classical approach, and the main father of this new classical theory, he is the founder, George Alton Mayo. Okay, he is the founder of new classical theory, and the new classical theory, he is the father, Alton Mayo, or he is the founder of new classical theory. Then what is new? New means new. The word classical refers to work done by a group of economists in the back 18th and 19th century. Okay, so why it is known as new classical? New means new, and classical means there are some group of economists, okay, who have done that particular work in the 18th and 19th century. That's why that's known as what everybody new classical theory. Under new classical approach or new classical theory, there are two things we are going to discuss. One is human relation movement, another one is behavioral system. Two things we are going to discuss: human relation movement, and next one is what? Behavioral system. So what is human relation movement, which is suggested by Alton Mayo, is that he mainly focus was on the people working in an organization. The main focus on human relation movement is all about the human being, because human beings are not treated as machine. Human beings has to understand, the organization has to understand the human beings. The organization has to understand the needs and requirement of the human beings. So human relations development contributed to employee-centric, democratic and participatory style of leadership more efficient. For an organization, which type of, if the organization is all about employee-centric, then which type of leadership is required? Participative. Participative means he is taking into consideration of the views of the employees or workers. Okay, that is known as participative type of leadership, or democratic type of leadership is quite suitable for those organizations where your focus is all about the human relation. Your focus is all about making human relations more effective on that, or how to develop that particular human relationship. If that could be the case, your organization is treated as human centric or the worker centric, where you can take the views or opinions of your workers and you can allow them to participate in the decision making process. So that's why here the democratic type of leader is required. Democratic type of leader is that leader who can take your views, who can take your opinions, who can make you to participate while taking the decision of the organization. Okay, so Alton Mayo, his the mainly focus was the people working in an organization. Whoever is the working, there is the people. It is organization is without the human resources, without the human being, without the people, there is no such organization. So Alton Mayo is giving much more emphasis to the employee or the human beings. Okay. Then behavioral system. One is human relations movement. Next one is behavioral system. Under this particular new classical theory, it can also be called as mature version of human relation theory. Okay, this theory how the managers should behave to motivate the employees and encourage them to perform at high level and be committed to the achievement of the organization goals. What is that, everybody? How the managers should behave to motivate the employees. In this particular behavioral system, how you can mold the behavior of the employees is important. The manager has the key role to motivate the workers, motivate the employees, so that the workers should perform better and workers should contribute to their highest level, and workers should committed themselves for the achievement of the goal. That is the main priority under the behavior system. Under the behavior system, the manager has to study the behavior, the need, the requirement of the worker, the what is the things that can be met earlier, that has to be fulfilled, so that the worker can be motivated, the worker can be influenced, that worker can be encouraged, and the workers should contribute to their highest level, and they can perform better, and they will committed to the achievement of the organization goals. Then these are the elements of new classical theory: individuals, work group, participative management, orientation, motivation, leadership, and employee development. These are the main theme behind this particular, or these are the main component or element of what? New classical theory. First one is individual. New classical theory recognized the individual difference which were ignored by the classical theory. The classical theory is purely ignored the individual differences, whatever the difference occurring in the individuals, their emotions, their feeling, the attitudes, the hopes, aspiration, and expectation. That is completely being ignored in the classical theory. The individual difference that is considered, that is recognized in this case of new classical theory. Then work group. An individual in a group develops social wants. As he is a social being, he develops a desire to belong and to be accepted by his workplace. Every human being want to be united, want to work together, they want to be sociable, they want to work in the society, they want to interact with the people. So as he is a social being, he develops a desire to belong and to be accepted by his worker. The human being want that he should be included in the particular group. He should be included, or she should be included in the particular work group, as he is a social animal. So that's why as human beings is a social animal. So the individual in a group develops social one. They are having the social one, mixing together, meeting together, interacting together, communicating together, and encouraging for the brotherhood, the love, the affection. So these are coming under this work group. Then participative management. New classical theory suggested workers' participation in management for improving their productivity. Okay, there is a need for what? Worker participation in management. Management में कौन आएगा? Workers should come. The workers should come also for the taking decision. Workers should come for taking different kind of decision. They are also having the key role for the improving the productivity of the organization. So participative management. Then orientation. Classical theory was job oriented, while new classical theory is employee oriented. Classical theory में ये आपका job है, आपको इतना करना पड़ेगा, आपका maximum output देना पड़ेगा, where the human being was treated as machine. But new classical theory, it is employee oriented. Employee का benefit में का कोशिश करेगा, employee का requirement क्या है, employee को कैसे motivate किया जाएगा, ये सब कोशिश किया जाएगा under this particular new classical theory. There is a shift in manager style from product oriented approach to employee and group centered approach. What is this, everybody? Earlier in the classical theory of management, the manager is having the focus only the product. कैसे output को increase किया जाए, कैसे productivity को बढ़ा जाए. The health of the worker is not concerned, the health of the human beings are not concerned, the attitude, the beliefs, the emotions are not concerned about the classical theory. But here in the new classical theory, the main focus is all about the employee and group centered. The group क्या कर रहा है, group का behavior क्या है, group का need क्या है, employee का need क्या है, employee को कैसे satisfy किया जाएगा ताकि वो बेहतर performance कर सके. So this is the orientation. Under orientation, these things are coming. Then motivation. Neoclassical writers consider business organization as a social system. The employee could be motivated by social and psychological wants and not solely by economy and incentive. एम्प्लॉय को आप अगर सैलरी देंगे, बोनस देंगे, तो वो मोटिवेट नहीं होगा. सो हाउ ही कैन बी मोटिवेटेड एज ही इज अ ह्यूमन बीइंग, as a worker is a human being. So there are certain psychological needs has to be fulfilled. There is a love, affection, the social needs also, the love, affection, belongingness. Okay, so these are the security, different kind of other needs has to be satisfied to those people. So the two thing is there, one is a psychological thing, okay, food, clothes, shelter, and as well as whatever is social needs. Social means love, belongingness, affection. These all needs has to be satisfied, not by only the economic incentives. Next, then leadership. Democratic style of leadership is essential to develop cooperative attitude of employee towards the management. Okay, so you can allow, as a leader, as a democratic leader, you should allow the workers to participate in the decision making, so that they will feel comfortable, so that they will consider that, they will think that management is considering their views only, their opinions are only, so they will feel better, their morality of the employees should increase, so they should cooperate with others. So democratic style of leadership is essential to develop cooperative attitude of employee towards the management. So the organization should develop the democratic type of leadership, so that employees should come, employees should give opinion, employees should have a sense of cooperation, sense of participation in the management. Then employee development. As there is a close connection between moral and production, neoclassical writers emphasize that management that must take greater interest in employee development, workers, and satisfaction. Okay, so in neoclassic theory, main emphasis are about how the employee be benefited, how the employee development can occur, how through employee development, how workers can get satisfied from themselves. So these are kind of things are being done in this particular neoclassical theory to develop the employee, develop the workers' satisfaction. Okay, so this is the difference between the classical approach and neoclassical approach. Look at focus. Under classical approach, function and economy demand of workers. Function and economy demand of workers. Then emotion and human qualities of worker. Neoclassic में क्या है? Emotion को human qualities of worker is being focused, whereas classical theory, the economic demand of worker, there is a huge demand of whatever workers. The quantity is more concerned. Then structure, it is impersonal and mechanistic, where it is a social system. Under classical approach or classical theory of management, what happened? There is no such love, affection, there is no such kind of things. The workers should be treated as a machine, so it is mechanistic. Whereas in the neoclassical theory, the love, affection, belongingness, okay, the family, these are all considered under this particular social system. Under this neoclassical theory, that is social system. Then application, autocratic management and strict rules. All the classical theory are lies or applicable to the workers and the those leaders who are more believing on और बिलीविंग अपॉन द ऑटोक्रेटिक. ऑटोक्रेटिक का मतलब क्या है? रूल रेगुलेशन सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट है. मैं जो ऑर्डर देता हूँ वो फाइनल है. तुम ऑर्डर के हिसाब में काम करना है तो करो, नहीं तो चले जाओ. सो वो क्या है? ऑटोक्रेटिक. सो ऑटोक्रेटिक टाइप ऑफ लीडरशिप इज देयर इन क्लासिकल, बट वेयर एज इन न्यू क्लासिकल थियरी अप्रोच डेमोक्रेटिक अप्रोच है. डेमोक्रेटिक में क्या हर किसी का रोल होता है क्या? डिसीजन लेने में. ओके, वर्कर्स आर अलाउड for taking decision, that is democratic. Then emphasize discipline and rationality, that is classical. Discipline को, rationality को important दिया गया है. Then personal security and social demand. Also in neoclassical theory, what is being emphasized? The personal security, the security of the employee. He should feel that his life is protected, and there is a social demand of that particular, because individual want to work within a group. So social demand also arises in neoclassical theory. Then work goal of worker, maximum remuneration and reward. Okay, what is that? Maximum remuneration, वो जितना चाहे उतना कमा ले, वो काफी है. Maximum remuneration and reward, that is the goal of the worker. Whereas attainment of organization goal, organization का goal कैसे achieve हो, वो क्या है? न्यूक्लासिकल थ्योरी में वो ऑब्जेक्ट है. कॉन्सेप्ट अबाउट मैन, इकोनॉमिक बीइंग, हियर सोशल बीइंग. यू इकोनॉमिक, ओके, मैन को, ह्यूमन बीइंग को हम इकोनॉमिक टर्म, मॉनेटरी टर्म में यहाँ पे क्या है? मेजर करते हैं क्लासिकल में, लेकिन यहाँ पे क्या है? सोशल बीइंग, ही इज अ सोशल एनिमल. देन कंटेंट मैंने अभी भी बोला क्या क्या आया अंडर क्लासिकल अप्रोच में? साइंटिफिक मैनेजमेंट, administrative management and bureaucratic management. Then under this particular theory, neoclassical Hawthorne experiment, okay, human relation movement and organization behavior. The relation formal, it is much more formal. मतलब जो पोजीशन में जो है जो अथॉरिटी में जो है वो जो कहेगा वो फाइनल है और कोई दखल अंदाजी नहीं कर सकता है। फॉर्मल, इनफॉर्मल में यहाँ पे कोई भी अथॉरिटी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी ऐसा नहीं होता है। यहाँ पे तुम अथॉरिटी के मुकाबले ही तुम किससे मिलोगे ऐसा कुछ नहीं, तुम जब चाहो जिसे भी चाहो तुम मिल सकते हो। ओके, दैट इज नोन एज इनफॉर्मल। द नेचर इट इज मैकेनिस्टिक एंड इज ऑर्गेनिस्टिक। ओके, सो इट इज मोर machine oriented, okay, mechanic oriented, where it is organization oriented. Okay, so this is the difference between what everybody, this is the difference between the classical approach or classical theory and new classical theory. New classical theory में एम्प्लॉय कंसिडर करते हैं, एम्प्लॉय को मशीन की तरह ट्रीट नहीं करते हैं, उनको ग्रुप में शामिल करते हैं, उनको सोशल एनिमल बोलते हैं, वो सोसाइटी में बिलोंग करता है, उसका जो सिक्योरिटी इंपॉर्टेंट है, उसको लव चाहिए, अफेक्शन चाहिए, एंड सोशल सिक्योरिटी इज इम्पॉर्टेंट फॉर द वर्कर्स। उसको वर्कर को हम लाएंगे, उसको डिफरेंट डिसीजन में पार्टिसिपेट करने के लिए बोलेंगे, वो अपना ऑर्गेनाइजेशन का कैसे गोल को मोटिवेट होके कैसे वर्क करेगा वो इम्पोर्टेंट है। यहाँ पे कौन किस पोजीशन में है वो पोजीशन के अनुसार वो काम नहीं करेंगे, जब चाहे जिसे चाहे वो मिल सकते हैं। सो दिस इज मोर डेमोक्रेटिक, दिस इज मोर सोशल एंड मच मोर गिव एन एम्फासिस अबाउट द क्वालिटी ऑफ workers under this particular new classical approach of management. Okay, so what is we discussed so far as we discussed about the classical theory. Under classical theory, scientific management is coming, then administrative management is coming, and bureaucracy management is coming. Under new classic theory, okay, human relation movement, okay, then behavioral management, these two are coming. Okay, now we'll discuss the first and foremost function of any kind of management is planning. Okay, so planning का मतलब क्या है? What to be done, where to be done, when to be done, how to be done, by whom to be done. Planning is means recognizing the need for a course of action, recognizing the need for a course of action. Suppose you want to go for a picnic, for that you have to plan. You have to plan for the spot, you have to plan for the transportation, you have to plan for the grocery, you have to plan for the cook. Okay, so these are all have to plan. So every human being plan also. Similarly, in any kind of organization, manager also plan. So planning is all about intellectual process where it laid down certain objective of the organization, develop various course of action by which organization can achieve those objectives. It chalks out exactly how to attain specific goal. If you have the objective in the organization, if you have the goal of the organization, what are the course of action you have to take to achieve the goal is known as planning. Planning is thinking before doing. It is the recognizing the need for an action. Okay, so every human being has to plan what to do, how to do, where to do, when to do, by whom to do, who is going to do. These are all coming under what? Planning. And these are the characteristics of whatever planning. Planning is a managerial function. क्यों managerial function है? कौन planning करता है? Manager करता है, जो कि first function है. Any kind of management, first function is all about planning. Next one is goal oriented. Every planning is all about goal oriented. कैसे पिकनिक को पहुंचना है, पिकनिक को कैसे सक्सेसफुल, वो क्या है? हमारा ऑब्जेक्टिव है. सिमिलरली ऑर्गेनाइजेशन प्रॉफिट माइट बी द ऑब्जेक्टिव. ओके, सेल्स मैक्सिमाइजेशन कुड बी द ऑब्जेक्टिव. सो और गोल, सो गोल ओरिएंटेड. एवरी प्लानिंग इज हैविंग सर्टेन गोल ओरिएंटेड. विदाउट गोल देयर इज नथिंग लाइक प्लानिंग. देन परवेसिव. परवेसिव मतलब इट इज एप्लीकेबल टू एवरी लेवल ऑफ मैनेजमेंट, अपर लेवल, मिडिल लेवल, लोअर लेवल. हर कोई मैनेजर क्या करता है? प्लान करता है. जिस लेवल में जो जुड़ा होता है वो प्लान करता है. हाई लेवल जो प्लान करेगा, लोअर लेवल वो प्लान नहीं करेगा. सो एवरी लेवल हैज टू डू द प्लान. And it is a continuous practice. If things are gone as per the plan, there is fine. If things are not going as per the plan, then you have to change the plan. So that's why it is a continuous process. It is a continuous activity. It's a never-ending process. Then intellectual process. Planning requires certain logical thinking. Planning required certain thinking process. Planning required some way of taking certain times. Your mind setup. You have to be there for that planning. So planning is all about rational process. Planning is all about intellectual process. You have to decide the planning intelligently. So it is an intellectual process. Then futuristic. Always the planning is made for the future only. Always human beings, always the manager has to plan for what only future only. And planning में क्या होता है, decision making. Suppose you are going for a picnic, so whether small bus is required, one bus is required, two bus is required, so for that you have to take a decision. So planning में क्या involve होता है, decision making. So these are all characteristic features of what every planning. Then importance of planning. Planning क्यों करना चाहिए? So if you are doing the planning, then it will improve the future performance. Suppose there is an exam is going, the schedule of the exam is declared. Suppose you are planned that on that particular day you have to read this subject, the hard subject, easy subject. If you are planned, then definitely your future performance will definitely improve. Similarly also, if an organization, the manager is making any kind of plan, that will surely improve the future performance of the organization. And this plan leads to what? Reduce the risk, reduce the uncertainty. Suppose you are going for a picnic. Suppose you plan that on the way we will do the tiffin, there is a hotel comes. Unfortunately, there is no hotel. Then what happened? Simply people will be there, they are not doing the breakfast, there is a problem. You plan for a spot, but the road is not good, the transportation is not good, the road is a lot of rocks will be there, then there is a problem. So if you are doing the planning, it will minimize the risk as well as what? Uncertainty. Then it facilitates the coordination of the activity. So if you are planning, then you can coordinate all the activity. If you are planning, as I told earlier, if you are going for a picnic, the transportation, the cook, the recreation facility, the grocery, okay, all the things can be coordinated in a well manner whenever you are doing any kind of planning. Then planning will ensure, it will give you the direction for action. क्या क्या एक्शन लेना चाहिए, अगर प्लान किया तो आप उस डायरेक्शन के अनुसार आप क्या करोगे, एक्शन लोगे. Then future opportunities and threat. If you are doing planning, whatever the future opportunity will come, you can grab those opportunity, and whatever the forthcoming threat will occur, whatever the problem will arise, and you can fight against those threats also. It sets out standard and controlling. So planning also help you. It is the first step. I told it, the foundation of any kind of management function is what? Planning. So if you are having the planning, suppose the budget set for your picnic is around 25,000, but the expenditure you are incurred 30,000. That means it is more than the standard. That means you need to have proper control about that particular thing. So every organization do the planning to set standard and controlling what are the actual performance you are made and what are the standard being set. So for controlling your organization in a better manner, controlling the performance of the individual in a better manner, it's required what? Planning. Then the planning process. The planning process starts from the setting the objective. ये आपका objective है, ये आपका goal है, आप इतना turnover करोगे, आप इतना profit कमाओगे. So first one has to set the objective. Without objective, without goal, there is no such planning. The first step is setting the objective. Next one is developing planning premises. What is developing planning premises? It is the assumption at which, or it is the basic assumption at which the planning has to be implemented in the future. ये assumption करके हम जो planning को implement करते हैं future, वो क्या है? Developing planning premises. Okay, so basing upon the assumption, the planning has to be implemented in the future is known as developing planning premises. Okay. So every time, suppose you are doing a planning for any kind of picnic spot also, you have to develop, उस रास्ते में ये मिलेगा, रास्ते में वो मिलेगा, ये सब प्लान करते हो. You are assuming that one. That's known as what? Developing planning premises. Identifying alternative course of action. Okay, so you have to identify the different alternative. Okay, suppose for the picnic you want bus, then which type of bus? How much the cost? How much the expenditure? So you have to identify the alternative, and every alternative is having certain cost as well as benefit. ये नहीं कि आप एक ही बस ड्राइवर के पास जाते हो, एक ही ट्रांसपोर्टेशन टूर एंड ट्रांसपोर्ट वाले के पास जाते हो और आप सिलेक्ट करते हो, ये नहीं. You have to see different kind of alternatives. Okay, similarly, organization while choosing any kind of things also, he has to identify different alternative and he has to evaluate different alternative course of action. कैसे evaluate करते हैं? किसका cost कितना है, किसका benefit ज़्यादा है. Every alternative is having certain cost as well as benefit. We have to find which alternative is having the highest benefit and lowest cost, that we have to select. that is known as select the best alternative. हर एक alternative का cost and benefit कितना होता है वो evaluation में आता है, and selecting the best who is having the more benefit and lesser cost, that has to be selected. Then implementing the plan. After analyzing all the things, you have to implement the plan, and whether things are gone as per the plan or not, you have to follow that one. You have to review the plan. As per the plan things are going or not, as per the plan things are moving or not, you have to review that one. That is known as what? Reviewing the plan. So this particular process is quite continuous. If you, as per your plan things are going okay, as per your plan things are coming right, then that's fine. If things are not going proper as per the plan, then you have to change the objective and follow the same steps. So that is known as what? Planning process. We start from the setting the objective, then developing planning premises, identifying the alternative course of action, evaluating alternative course of action, selecting the best alternative, implementing the plan, and reviewing the plan. This is known as what? Planning process. Now we are discussing about the limitations of planning. Limitations or demerits of planning. What are the limitations? What are the demerits of planning? First one is time consuming. Okay, whenever you are doing any kind of planning, it has to take certain time. You have to devote maximum time towards the planning only. ये नहीं कि सुबह उठे रात में प्लानिंग कर लिया वो एग्जीक्यूट करेंगे, वो मुश्किल है. You have to devote a considerable time. You have to devote a significant time towards the planning. जैसे फाउंडेशन स्ट्रांग होने से एक घर अच्छा होता है, उसी तरह प्लानिंग अच्छा होने से हर चीज अच्छा होगा, हर एक्टिविटी अच्छा होगा. सो यू हैव टू डिवोट ए कंसिडरेबल टाइम टुवर्ड्स व्हाटएवर प्लानिंग. सो it is also a demerit. So it is a time consuming device, and it is also having what? Costly. You have to spend lot of amount of money, time, so it is a costly. Then it is rigid. Planning is not flexible enough to change as per the change in situation. So if it is rigid, if it not changed, then that is a problem. Then gap between plan and achievement. Whatever you plan, whatever you achieve, if there is a hell and heaven difference, if there is a huge difference in between the plan you decided and whatever the actual you achieved, then there is a limitation of planning. Then problem for technical staff. If the right technical staffs are not available for the execution or the implementation of the plan, then planning become waste. Then there are certain people who are not ready to change. So because of they resist in change themselves, so you can't give them for the proper implementation of the plan, and they are not ready to change of themselves. So planning is at that time the planning is not effective. That is a limitation, and planning requires lot of paperwork also. Then it causes frustration. If you are not achieving the plan as per the plan, you are not getting the things in your way, then what will happen? It leads to frustration of employees, because you are already put all the resources. So at that time what will come from the employee or the manager? Frustration. Then if you are targeting a higher target while planning, or if you are targeting lower target for your planning also, if your objective is low and if your objective is highest which can't be achievable, and if it is a low achieve also, that is quite dangerous also. And there are something what happened, there is a human error also coming, human mistakes also coming. Due to that, planning is not effective. And also there are different department is having different kind of competition. Every department is having want to show that they are the best. So in between the competition of these departments also, there is no such proper coordination among the departments, so that's planning will not be effective. So the limitation of the planning is it is time consuming, it is very much costly, you are spending a lot of time, and there is a lot of gap in between the plan you planned, what you actually planned, okay, what you actually achieved, and the way you planned and what you actually achieved. There is a huge gap. And the problem of technical staff, we are not getting the right staff at the right moment, and people are not ready to change themselves. They are resist on themselves. If there is a lot of paperwork were involved, and there is people are not implementing the plan properly, if people are not getting the things in their own way, it leads to what? Frustration among the employee, frustration in the part of the manager. And if you are putting the target if your plan is something like if you are over targeting your plan or it is under tagging, both the way it is dangerous. If there is a human error or if there is a complete in between the different departments, or if there is a competition in between the department, so at that time the planning could be not effective. That is the limitation. Then types of plan. Okay, first one is standing plan. What is this standing plan? Standing plan is that plan which can be occur repeatedly, where a plan is being used again and again, which is repeated in nature, which is recurring in nature. Daily तुम आते हो, रॉ मटेरियल लाते हो, एक वेंडर्स एक सप्लायर से वेज देते हो, ये क्या है? रेगुलरली सम वर्क इज देयर, regularly some plan is executed in a repeated time, repeatedly. Okay, continuously some plan is there. Okay, it is used again and again. That is known as what? स्टैंडिंग प्लान. देयर आफ्टर सिंगल यूज प्लान. सिंगल यूज प्लान एक प्रोजेक्ट के लिए होता है, एक गोल को अचीव के लिए होता है. वो प्लान क्या है? एक टाइम में यूज होगा, उसके बाद उसको डिस्कार्ड किया जाएगा. और टू अचीव सर्टेन सिचुएशन और to fit the demand of certain situation or goal, you are having that kind of single use plan. Single use plan में जो प्लान है once यूज होगा, सिंगल टाइम ही यूज होगा, वो एक बार यूज होने के बाद आप उसे क्या कर देते हो? डिस्कार्ड कर देते हो, बाय कर देते हो. वो क्या है? आपके लिए सिंगल यूज प्लान है, जो कि स्पेसिफिक प्रोजेक्ट के लिए, जो कि स्पेसिफिक डिमांड के लिए है. ओके, देन प्लानिंग प्रीमाइसेस. I already told what is planning premises under this particular planning process. Planning premises are the basic assumptions about the environment in which plans are expected to be implemented. ये जो क्या है? बेसिक assumption है जो कि environment का, जिसमें आप अपने प्लान को इम्प्लीमेंट करते हो, वो क्या है? प्लानिंग प्रीमाइसेस. प्लानिंग प्रीमाइसेस में भी इंटरनल एंड एक्सटर्नल प्रीमाइसेस. इंटरनल क्या है? एक्सटर्नल क्या है? Internal premises are those premises which occur inside the organization, and external premises are those premises which are occur outside of the organization. Under internal premises, what will come? The capital budgeting come, the credit policies. ओके, कैसे आप इन्वेस्टमेंट करते हो, कितना इन्वेस्टमेंट करोगे आप प्लांट में, मशीनरी में. ओके, कितना लोगों को रिक्रूटमेंट करोगे. ओके, सो दीज आर ऑल कमिंग अंडर व्हाट? इंटरनल. ओके, इंटरनल okay is all about the organization's research and development, organization's credit policy, organization's capital budgeting. So these are internal premises. External premises का मतलब क्या है? जो देश में क्या इकोनॉमी चल रहा है, लोगों का सोशल कंडीशन कैसा है, ओके, पॉलिटिकल कंडीशन कैसा है, इकोनॉमी का कल्चर कैसा है, जो कि ऑर्गेनाइजेशन का कंट्रोल में नहीं है, वो क्या है? एक्सटर्नल प्रीमाइसेस है. उसके बाद कंट्रोलेबल, दोज things which are controllable. Generally the internal things are much more controllable. Internal things like research and development, like the employment or the recruitment of the people, like the production plan, production schedule. Okay, so these are the things which can be controllable. Then semi controllable, which is partially controllable and partially not controllable, is known as semi controllable. लुक एट लेबर टर्नओवर. लेबर टर्नओवर का मतलब क्या है? एक एम्प्लॉय आएगा आपके ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में, कुछ टाइम काम करेगा, वो चले जाएगा दूसरे ऑर्गेनाइजेशन को. ये आपके ऊपर डिपेंड करता है थोड़ा बहुत, चाहे आपके ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में रहेगा या नहीं. So it is semi-controllable. Similarly also, the way you are making the relationship between your labor union, एक ऑर्गेनाइजेशन अपने लेबर यूनियन के साथ कैसा डील करता है, वो उसके ऊपर डिपेंड है लगभग. सो दैट्स दैट इज पार्टली कंट्रोलेबल एंड पार्टली नॉट कंट्रोलेबल, इज नोन एज व्हाट? सेमी कंट्रोलेबल. देन अनकंट्रोलेबल. अनकंट्रोलेबल प्रीमाइसेस का मतलब कुछ चीज ऐसे होता है जो कि कंट्रोल से बाहर है. इफ देयर इज a strike will be there, okay, or any lockout will be there, or any natural calamity will be there, war will be there, or COVID-19 type of situation will be there, which is not at all controllable. That is known as controllable premises. Then third planning premises is known as tangible premises. Tangible premises are those premises which can be measured in economic or monetary terms, like production hour, okay, like labor hour, production units or labor hours. This is known as what? Tangible. Intangible premises means which is not measured. Organization's reputation, organization's credit worthiness, employee reputation, employee morality. So these are the things which are not measurable, which is coming under the category of what? Intangible premises. Okay, so planning premises can be the internal and external, okay, which can be inside the organization, like credit policy, like production planning, production schedule, okay, research and development, recruitment of the personals. So these are the things which are internal, or capital budgeting. External premises means social environment, economic environment, political environment, okay, cultural environment. That is external premises. Controllable means the things which are controllable. Generally, those things are there within the organization. Those are internal to the organization. They are the controllable. Okay, like production plan कैसे करोगे, capital budgeting कितना करोगे, plant में machine में कितना खर्चा करोगे, कितना research में investment करोगे, आपका turnover कितना, आप कितना प्रोडक्शन करोगे, ये सारे चीज कंट्रोल में आता है. सेमी कंट्रोल मीन्स पार्टली कंट्रोलेबल, पार्टली नॉट कंट्रोलेबल, लाइक labor management relationship, okay, like labor turnover. Then uncontrollable things like war, COVID-19, natural calamity. Tangible means production units, labor hour, that is tangible. Intangible premises means the creditworthiness of the organization का reputation कैसा है, और एम्प्लॉय का साइकोलॉजी कैसा है, एम्प्लॉयज़ का मोरालिटी कैसा है, एम्प्लॉय का लॉयल्टी कैसा है, ये सारे चीज़ जो कि मेजर करना मुश्किल है, वो क्या है? इंटेंजिबल थिंग्स में आता है. सो टाइप्स ऑफ प्लान कैन बी स्टैंडिंग प्लान, जो कि लगातार बार बार ऑर्गेनाइजेशन यूज करता है, एंड दिस सिंगल यूज प्लान सिर्फ और सिर्फ एक प्रोजेक्ट के लिए, to fit the demand of a particular situation, to fulfill a particular goal of the organization. That particular plan used for a particular purpose, and after that it is discarded. That is known as what? Single use plan. Thereafter what? Planning premises. Okay, so what we discussed today is that planning क्या है? Recognizing the need for an action in advance, and it is the course of action that has to be followed is known as what? Planning. Okay, so it chalks out एग्जैक्टली हाउ टू अटेन स्पेसिफिक, कैसे आप एक गोल को, ऑर्गेनाइजेशन ऑब्जेक्टिव को कैसे फुलफिल करें. सो हाउ टू एग्जीक्यूट दैट वन, एंड प्लानिंग इज ऑल अबाउट व्हाट टू डू, हाउ टू डू, व्हेन टू डू, ओके, हु इज गोइंग टू डू, ओके, that is known as planning. And we discuss about the characteristics, features of planning. Thereafter what is the importance of planning. प्लानिंग करने से क्या है? आपका ऑब्स्टेकल रिड्यूस होगा, आपका जो अपॉर्चुनिटी बढ़ेगा, आप रिस्क अनसर्टेनिटी को कम कर सकते हो, आपका फ्यूचर परफॉर्मेंस को अच्छा होगा. एंड प्लानिंग विल आल्सो हेल्प यू फॉर द कंपैरिजन बिटवीन द स्टैंडर्ड यू सेट एंड द एक्चुअली you got. फॉर कंट्रोलिंग ऑफ योर ऑर्गेनाइजेशन ऑल्सो प्लानिंग रिक्वायर्ड. प्लानिंग कोऑर्डिनेशन में भी मदद करता है. एंड प्लानिंग प्रोसेस में हमने देखा है कि सेटिंग ऑब्जेक्टिव पहले सेट करते हैं, उसके बाद डेवलपिंग प्लानिंग प्रीमाइसेस, उसके बाद आइडेंटिफाइंग द अल्टरनेटिव कोर्स ऑफ एक्शन, देन इवैल्यूएटिंग द अल्टरनेटिव कोर्स ऑफ एक्शन, देन सिलेक्टिंग द बेस्ट, देन इम्प्लीमेंटिंग द प्लान, देन रिव्यूइंग द प्लान. ओके, देन लिमिटेशन क्या है? ये टाइम कंज्यूमिंग है प्लानिंग, ये कॉस्टली है, यहाँ पे पेपर वर्क ज़्यादा होता है, टेक्निकल स्टाफ ज़रूरत है, यहाँ पे रेजिस्टेंस हो गए तो वर्कर कभी भी प्लानिंग एग्जीक्यूट नहीं होगा. इफ यू आर सेटिंग ओवर टारगेट और अंडर टारगेट, इफ देयर इज ए ह्यूमन एरर इज इन्वॉल्व, इफ पीपल फ्रस्ट्रेटेड देमसेल्फ ऑफ नॉट अचीविंग द टारगेट, नॉट थिंग्स आर नॉट गोइंग विद देयर प्लान, देन if there is a inter-department conflict also, competition also, the planning will be failed. And we discussed today all about the types of plan. Okay, this is all about today's class about the planning. Thanks for listening.